What's up, guys? It's Patrick from Home Gym Reviews, and today I want to talk about the StrongArm Combo Rack. And if this is your first video or you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. You've probably seen this in a few videos. I've mentioned it a few times. It's a fantastic rack. I've had it for 4 years. It's been tried and true. Never had really too many issues with it other than some minor things, which I'll talk about in the video. There's a few little fixes that I have for you if you have this rack. But my time with this rack has been very positive. I haven't really found that I've needed a power rack or anything with this thing, and I'll touch as to why in a little bit. With most combo racks, they all have this feature, but it's adjustable lever arms, so you can go up and down. This is useful because you can get the perfect height for your squat, perfect height for your bench, and also it's very easy to adjust if you have anybody over. Often, most people are different heights, so if you're squatting with somebody else, you don't have to completely change the rack, or if you have a significant other and you guys are different heights, it makes it very easy for you guys to both work out at the same time rather than setting up a different post or taking down the bar. It's way more time effective for this. Another nice thing about the rack is that it does have rollers, so you can kind of adjust the way you want to whenever you're about to lift, which is pretty handy, especially for the bench portion. Or if you find like you've set your bar too far over to the right whenever you're squatting, you can just fix it right at the start. So that's a really nice feature of this rack. Another touch that I like that they have on this rack that I don't see any other combo rack have actually is just the weight pegs on the back of it. Reason I like that is a lot of other combo racks, especially if you dump the weight, it can flip. So it'll actually flip up just from the weight hitting it. But with this one here, with the counterbalance of the weight on the end, it's been very safe. I've had like a few instances of people dropping weights and it actually hasn't flipped. It's just been very sturdy, surprisingly. That being said, I wouldn't recommend dumping the weight, which is just dropping it back. That is never good for your equipment anyways, and I don't know how much I would trust it if you're dropping really heavy weight on it. It's always best to just have a spotter around. And that's kind of where this rack in general flourishes. So if you're having like people over, it's fantastic. I love it. Another great thing about this rack is the cost. So it's a very cheap rack. It's around $900 in US, probably a little bit more in Canadian. But overall, you're going to get a quality rack. I've been using this for quite some time. I haven't really had any scares or anything on it. Now, a cool thing about the rack too is it does have laser cut logos on the back of it for your numbers. One thing I did with my rack is I actually just wrote numbers on the side. It's the even numbers that I have because it shows only the odd numbers on the back. So it's just easy to look at it from the side as well. Sometimes I like that too. There is safety arms on this rack as well, and they are adjustable, but they don't have any laser cut logos on it. So I would recommend writing something there. It just makes it a little bit easier to find it if you're trying to switch it quickly. As good as the safety arms are for me, they might not be the best for you. I tend to squat pretty close to the rack. So for me, I feel pretty safe whenever I'm squatting because I'm situated right above the safety arms. However, if you are somebody that backs out quite a bit out of your rack, this is not going to catch anything because it is pretty close proximity. If you're doing bench or anything like that, it's extremely safe. Squat, grab a spotter if you can. One thing that we did with the rack as well is we put a piece of wood and glued it actually to the back. One common complaint with this rack that a lot of users have said is just that it does wiggle. However, whenever we put the piece of wood in here and just glued it, there's no wiggle, there's no play or anything, so it's been very solid after we made that, because whenever you were going to set up, it was wiggling quite a bit for your bench, so whenever you go to the lift off, it does feel quite a bit better now. The StrongArm bench that I got, it's one of the older versions, and it's kind of a faux leather, so it doesn't have the best grip to it. You kind of slide a little bit on it, but it's a pretty easy fix. So we just actually got like a placemat and just put that over it, and it actually solved a lot of the issues. There's a lot of bench mats that you can get as well that are pretty cheap. This is just the cheapest thing that I found that worked for it. But overall, the quality of it's pretty good. The spotter area on this bench is a little bit finicky. It's a little bit narrow, but I do believe that they actually fixed that on the new version that I've seen. It'd be nice if it had some wheels or something just to kind of store it a little bit easier, or like a handle. I feel like this could be revisited just a little bit. Quality bench, but it's a little bit shorter than like a competition bench. I think it's just an inch under. Overall, it's not going to make a huge difference, but it's very similar to like what you would use in a competition. Now for this combo rack, there's actually quite a bit of exercises you can do on it that I've managed. So I've been able to do like incline bench, you can do standing overhead, you can do seated overhead, you can do rack pulls if you have some good blocks. It's quite versatile for what you can do, albeit it's not as versatile as a power rack. The cool thing that I like that they did add to this is the band pegs. The band pegs are very well situated, and they're also adjustable, so you can make the resistance curve to whatever need that you want. So that's a nice addition that they put onto the bench. And at that price, I don't feel like they had to, but they went ahead and did it, so kudos to them. I'm going to run through a couple of the good attributes about this bench. First being is that it takes up such little space in your gym. It's really fantastic if you have low ceilings, anything like that. This can definitely be something you can consider if you want to do a home gym, but you do have low ceilings in your house. Second one being, it's very close to a competition bench. So if you're a power lifter and you're competing in like the IPF or the CPU, wherever you are, this is going to be probably one of the most similar things that you can get to that without spending the thousands of dollars that you would have to on like a competition rack, like the ER rack, the Rogue Fitness rack, the Eleiko rack. This is like thousands of dollars cheaper. The closest one that I've found in price is probably the Hansu rack. But even still, StrongArm actually just released a second version of this rack that's really similar to the Hansu rack. And it's quite a bit cheaper, so check it out, because I believe at the moment that I have this video out, which is in March of 2025, they're actually doing 20% off the rack, so that'd be the cheapest time to get their new and improved one. I would have to see more things to talk about it more. I'm not sure the complete changes that they've done. Also, I've mentioned this many times, but if you have a combo rack, it's great to train with friends. The adjustability is awesome. It also has a fantastic cost to it, especially in today's economy. It hasn't really went up over years, so that's a great feature. Lastly, the rack has withstood the test of time. This has been put through so many workouts, and there's never been any issues, no safety concerns, anything like that. So I could highly recommend it if you are looking for one. So why wouldn't you want a combo rack if everything I said was so good? Well, it depends on your place. Like if you don't have much space in your gym and you kind of want to make the most of the space, this isn't for you, because you can't even add like pulley cables to this. You can't really get any attachments for it. If you need to do a variety of things, or you want to get attachments for your rack, look into a power rack, because it's going to be a lot better. And also, if you are training by yourself, a power rack is definitely safer, because you never know what can happen. So it's best to just be on the safe side. If you find you are failing a lot, definitely don't get this. If you're pretty good with RP and stuff, I'm sure you'll be okay. But on the other end, who's this rack for? Well, if you're a power lifter and you want to get the most similar experience and you are on a budget, this is the rack for you. Or if you are training with people often and you're constantly having to adjust, this is the rack for you. If you don't want to spend a bunch of money and you still want a combo rack, this is the rack for you. So what I would say overall is, on a budget, this is probably one of the best picks that you can buy if you're looking for a combo rack. But if you're looking for other things, just go for like the Amazon racks, or Bells of Steel power rack, or Rogue power rack, whatever you want to do. There's plenty of options these days. I'm just telling you how my experience has been with the rack, and I hope it does help you. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more videos like this, just hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.